Am I the asshole? For introducing my boyfriend's parents as grandma and grandpa to my son? This last Thursday I went over to my boyfriend Jay's house for Thanksgiving and brought my son with me. I and Jay have been together for a year and a half now, and he is the most amazing man in the world. He's been amazing with my son. His bio father is not in his life and I can genuinely see him as the one. Jay's parents came over as well. It's not that I don't get along with them, it's just I have only ever seen them 3 times before this Thanksgiving. I have not had any time to really bond with them, I guess. They had never met my son in person either, but they both knew about him. By the time I arrived, Jay's parents were already there and helping him finish up dinner. We greeted each other and Jay's dad asked, "And who's this little guy?" I introduced them to my son and then introduced Jay's parents as grandma and grandpa to my precious boy. I didn't notice at the time, but all 3 of them became quiet almost immediately. I ended up waiting in the living room alone for almost half an hour before dinner and things just were incredibly awkward for the rest of the night. My son did end up calling his parents by grandpa and grandma and I quickly noticed both of them would be very disingenuous and awkward about it over dinner, but they did not say anything to me about it. They didn't stick around for long after either, but when they left both were very cold to me. I asked Jay what was their deal and he lost it at me. He claims I put him in an incredibly awkward position. His parents apparently didn't think we were that serious yet and began to question him if I was only using him as a replacement daddy. He said that it was way out of line to introduce them that way without even talking to him beforehand. I think it's ridiculous. If one day he's going to be my son's stepdad, then why go through this formal nonsense? He claimed that's not the point and we ended up fighting till I stormed out. We have not talked since and I have simply been waiting for an apology. I talked with my sister about it last night and she said she was mortified to hear this. Saying she also didn't get the read that we were all that serious and she never felt like Jay intended to take on a dad role. This has got me questioning if I was wrong. Edit. Okay, I messed up. I genuinely thought Jay would be okay with this. Jay has always treated my son so well, I guess I misread treating him kindly as being okay with being his father figure. I'm pretty sure I ruined this for myself, but most importantly I hurt my son through all this. Edit 2. I called Jay and apologized. We're going to be taking a break. I'm going to look into making sure I didn't scar my kid with this. Yikes. You're the asshole. That's a major leap to introduce them with those terms when they don't fulfill that role. And the fact that he may one day be stepdad doesn't mean his dad unless you had a serious discussion about if he will take on that role. You're the asshole. You always discuss those things with everybody involved. And, by the way, you should not be waiting for an apology. You should be apologizing to him. You're the asshole. It's quite a big assumption for you to have your kid refer to anyone by grandma, grandpa. You should have run it by your boyfriend beforehand. Let me get this straight. 1. You've been dating Jay for a year and a half. 2. You've only met Jay's parents 3 times and this is the first time they've met your son. 3. You introduced people your son has never met as his grandparents. 4. You are waiting on an apology because you blindsided everyone with this proclamation. Yeah, you're the asshole and I'm really not sure why you think everyone else is. Triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post, triangular flag on post. This post put me into a full body cringe. You're the asshole and you owe everyone, including your son, an apology. Jay is not your husband. He's not even your fiancé. He is not your son's stepfather. He's merely the BF, of less than 2 years, of your little boy's mother. A BF you don't even live with. Jay's parents are not your in-laws. They are the parents, who you've only met 3 times, of your BF. Your son, whom they've never met, is not their grandson. He's the child of their son's GF. Whom they've only met 3 times. Of course they think you're shopping for a replacement daddy. That's the impression you gave and now you're stuck with it. You're the asshole. Are you really shocked that the parents of a 25-year-old aren't ready to be called grandma and grandpa yet? You're the asshole. You massively overstepped. It was not your place to introduce them at all, and especially not without asking if they were okay with that title. You're the asshole. Did you call them mom and dad without asking as well? You totally blew it and you owe them an apology. You're the asshole. You have barely been around his parents and your son never met them and just expected them to be okay being called by grandparent names. They aren't his grandparents. They don't know this kid. You're the asshole, and I think you just tanked that relationship, so double asshole for now having to explain to your son why he won't see grandma and grandpa again. Damn man. Wow, that's some bad parenting, as well as bad social etiquette. You tried to force a relationship on these people, who have never even met your kid. It does come across that you're just looking for a new baby daddy. I can understand why they distrust you from now on. You can't just force roles on people, that shit comes with time and exposure. Holy, yes, you're the asshole. You cannot introduce strangers like this, especially not without talking to them beforehand. Your poor son. What will he think if these people are not in his life going forward? You're the asshole. You seem to be pushing a family who just met your child for the first time on him. You're an AH to Jay's parents and to your son. You don't do this to a child because it's confusing. And you certainly don't do this when you haven't talked to the people involved about what kind of relationship they want with your child. Like what in the world? Edit, and you've only met the parents 3x. Even bigger cause you don't even have that relationship with them. You're the asshole. Not only to your BF and parents who were really sweet not to make a fuss in front of your son, but to your kid too. Suddenly he has grandparents. What happens if you break up and they just disappear? Heartbreaking. You are waiting for an apology? You're the one who needs to get to it. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. You should have cleared that with your boyfriend and his parents first. I also think you need to end the relationship if everyone's saying it's not that serious and has your new daddy serious. Big incompatibility there. You're the asshole. I literally cringed reading this. Please apologize and don't do that again. You're the asshole. That is a massive overreach, just shocking. You need to apologize. I am sorry, it may have been unintentional, but that was so wrong. You're the asshole. That was highly inappropriate and probably super confusing to your little guy. You're the asshole. I was so uncomfortable reading this, I cannot imagine living it. Deciding someone is going to take on a parent or grandparent role is something that needs to be heavily discussed before and ensure that everyone is on the same page. You don't spring that on someone, especially in front of your son. I give your BF's parents a ton of credit for not stopping the conversation right then and there. Yes, you're the asshole. Upon taking your son to meet your boyfriend's parents for the first time, you introduced them as grandma and grandpa. Yeah, that's way too much and an overstep. They aren't your son's grandparents. You had no business introducing them as such. It's too much and inappropriate. That's such a hard you're the asshole. I actually cringed and said no. You're the asshole because if he is really going to take on the dad role, shouldn't you be deciding this stuff together? Isn't it unfair to set up expectations for your kid, if you can't guarantee that it will actually be so? Also, grandma and grandpa and mom-dad parent names are kind of sacred. Shouldn't your BF's parents be able to decide for themselves whether or not they want to take on those roles? You're the asshole. You should totally have that conversation beforehand with your boyfriend. Doesn't matter that you see him as the one, doesn't matter you have been together for a year and a half, doesn't matter you two are serious about your relationship, because that move from you didn't only impact your BF, but other people, his parents, who didn't ask or choose to be in your life, even less in your son's life. Even if you end up marrying your GF, you can't impose on his parents to be grandparents to your son if they don't want it. AITA. Unless you've met them multiple times and you and your BF have talked about your future and what role he was taking on, it's incredibly awkward for his parents to be introduced like that. Seems like even your sister didn't see this was serious, and your BF's reaction kinda says he didn't see this as serious either. You made a big assumption and it blew up in your face.